Alright YouTube, it's Friday, July 4th, and Angel's sticking close to me today because they're already starting to shoot off fireworks and stuff, at least firecrackers, stuff like that. Probably be a lot of stuff going on here at night. Actually, I myself am going to bought a few things I'm going to light off, but I just want to show you what we had to do. We had to pull the bed back off of it, and my neighbor's staring at me because I'm talking to a camera. Yep. Oh, that's aggravating. But anyway, where was I at? Okay, if you can see, we had to pull the bed off to get those spot welds drilled out. It was just too hard to get to. It's nearly impossible. And I was kind of tearing my panel up trying to do it on the truck, but I got that beat flat. Let's see, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, my spot weld drill. Some of these look rough. See, I haven't beaten this flat yet. I'm going to show you how I do that. I was going to film drilling all the spot welds, but like I said, my spot weld drill got dull and broken, but I found a cheap alternative to the expensive spot weld drills. Now, what I had, you see me use it before when I did the wheel tubs on this thing, when I drilled the spot welds out for the old ones. I had this little kit here. Get the camera pointed at it. These things right here, and they worked okay, but they are prone to break. As you can see, this one, actually this one is just dull. But, and also this little spring-loaded pin, it always, the spring sticks. As you can see, that one's stuck down there now. This is a 3/8 diameter. Here is a 5/16 diameter. And they're supposed to be spring-loaded, and it sticks, and it causes, and when it does stick, it causes your drill to wander and break. As you can see, this is got cutters on both sides, and this one, this other side that I'm not using is missing a tooth too, but I found a cheap alternative. These right here, I went to stopped in at Sears. I also looked online for a higher quality. There are some higher quality spot weld drills. They look similar to these, but they are very expensive. Supposed to be made out of, I guess, they're carbide drill bits. These are not. These are just regular high speed. I was concerned. I found these at Sears. I was concerned if they was just like for wood only, but evidently they're high speed steel because I've used this 7/16 and got some clean drills on it. It really cleaned, drilled them pretty nice. What you do is you just drill your 1/8 inch hole, and right there is an example of how good it looks. Here's what you get when you use a dull spot weld drill like I had, and then you have to beat it with a chisel to get it to break loose. Whereas these, and also another thing I like is this is a 7/16. I also have a 1/2 inch, which is in my drill. So if your spot welds aren't perfectly round, and say you use a 3/8 and it doesn't get all your weld, ooh, there goes a big one. And I don't know if you heard that big cannon go off or not. And you can go up to a bigger drill, and the more, oh, Angel's scared. And you can go to a bigger drill and cut all of the weld out. As you can see, it pops loose nice and clean. You can stick a screwdriver or something, or a chisel up in there and pry it loose. And usually it's already broken loose when you drill it out that big. Or you can take a little punch and tap on it and beat it loose. But those right there is $9 for the whole set. There's your 1/2 inch. It goes all the way down to, what size? Down to 1/8 inch, which I won't need, but it'll be handy for something. But for $9, actually almost 10, $9 and some change, and after tax, 10 and some change. Can't beat it. Now the carbide spot weld drills I've seen online, there was anywhere from $35 to $70 a piece. You get only one drill for like a 1/2 inch, and the 1/2 inch ones are kind of harder to find than the 3/8. Oh, you staying close to me, girl. But I'm going to go ahead and put the camera on the tripod and clean and beat the rest of this flat. Just going to show you how I clean that mess up, just in case that happens to you, and you'll have a good idea of how to do it if you're not sure. Okay, here's all you need to do is I'm going to take this flat plate and use it as a dolly. What I'm going to do is pry this open a little bit, stick this up in here. It's got this panel, and see these welds over here, that's for the inner panel. And I need to push it in and get this plate in between all of them. have to get on my stairs here. Angel, look out. She is going to be right under my feet because all the fireworks going off. She don't like them. And she's not going to like it when I light mine off. But I will put her in the house. I will pry this panel. And I need what I'm doing is I'm just getting it between all panels. There it goes. Then I'll be able to hopefully beat it flat. This one probably won't be too fun to get out, but you're getting the idea of what I'm doing here. I'm just getting my surfaces flat so that when I put it back on the truck and get it lined up and screw it together, it'll and maybe even possibly get a few tack welds in it. It'll be mated up fairly flat. See, that straightens it up quite a bit. You know what? I'm going to talk as loud as I want. To heck with the neighbors. If they think it's weird to make a video and narrate it, then that's their thing. Getting the inner panel now, in case you wonder. Just to show you what the inside looks like. Hopefully there's enough light in there to show you. Right there is where I was just beating. There's your before. See how that's all tore up? That was with my old spot weld drill. And there's your after. You just beat it flat. And I'm going to go ahead, do that again. I'll have to get this out. It's kind of tight, but I'll get it out. Move it down, do it again, move it down, do it again. This here, I don't even want to talk about that mess, but I can weld that back up. Don't worry about that. And I'll show you what it looks like and tell you what's next. Alright, we now have all our rough edges beaten down. And next thing to do is we're going to have to set it back on the truck and get everything lined out. And as you can see, my bed panel, or the side panels, are moving free now. Free enough to where I can easily, hopefully, line it up with the cab. And now on this side, you see I had tape right here. It goes from there down. And what that is for is, since I would probably forget, while the bed was on the truck, I taped it from there down because it was sticking out from there down. It was sticking out just a little bit here, and it gradually got worse. So hopefully I will be able to push it in down here, and as you can see how that's moving, that will hopefully move with it and line up with the cab. And this side, same way, moves around quite freely. Now on this side, as you see, I broke it loose all the way to the top because this was sticking way too far out up here. This side, after I had everything, the gap right, if you remember, this side looked good from here down to about there, and then it started coming out past the cab. So that's why I only did it from there down, and I left this alone. So I don't know if I'll get this bed on tonight. It's possible. Right now I need to go in and eat. My stomach is empty, and I got a T-bone steak with my name on it in the refrigerator, and by then, if the fireworks get too crazy, I don't want to pull the truck outside to put the bed on it. Right now it is outside. I may end up putting it back in because I don't want any stray bottle rockets hitting my roof and denting my bodywork I've already done. We don't want to have to do that again. The cab is ready for final sanding, and we don't want to have to redo anything on that. But that's what's next. And in case you're wondering, once I do get the bed on it, we will find us some sheet metal screws, and once we get it lined up, we will clamp it if possible. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get to it down here and clamp it somehow. And we'll drill some small 1/8 inch holes and run some sheet metal screws in. Possibly do some tack welding if I can get to it from inside of here somewhere. And once we get it positioned in place, we'll have to pull the bed back off and weld it all up good and solid. Take our time so we don't get anything hot and warp anything. But that's the main reason I drilled these spot welds on this panel, which goes from here to this whole side panel, is that I didn't want to disturb this seam. That's all nice and factory looking, and that is what would show if you peek between the bed and the cab. This here we can clean up. Nobody's going to be able to see that. It's going to be in the dark. And I could still make it look like you could almost not tell what it looks like. Of course, I don't do factory looking spot welds. I don't have a spot welder for that. And what I would do, I would just fill it in with weld and use a little body filler and just make it look smooth. So we may or may not get the bed on tonight. For sure we're going to put it on in the morning. And okay, we'll continue this video whenever I start to put the bed on it. Alright, as you can see, we've decided to go ahead and, or I have, there's no we here, I've decided to go ahead and put this bed on. I want to show you how to put a bed on by yourself when all your buddies that you used to do stuff for free aren't around anymore. Don't want to sound mad or bitter or anything, but I just want to say to any of you younger guys who fool with this stuff, and you're one of those go-getter type guys who aren't afraid to work on your own stuff and try things you haven't done before, you're going to get a lot of guys who buddy up to you and want stuff done for free. Believe me, I did a lot of free stuff for a lot of friends when I was younger. They're not around no more. As soon as they sell their cars, see, everybody's not in it for the long haul like I am, and a lot of people who watch this channel. As soon as these people sell their cars and do whatever it is they want to do, they like to call it growing up. They have no use for you anymore. I really hate to sound bitter, but yeah, they don't have any use for you anymore. So this is how you put a bed on by yourself. I'm going to go ahead and mount the camera on the tripod, back the truck in, and I hope some of those guys I used to do stuff for might find this channel and hear this and think about, you know, just think about a little something there. Hang on, let me put this on the tripod. Alright, before I back the truck in, now that little rant is out of the way, and yes I am going to put that in this video, I just want to show you how I went about hanging this. This engine crane is very handy for rolling the bed around and putting it in a position you want. Here's how I picked it up. I used some big wide 2-inch tie down straps. Don't use the little weak 1-inch ones. They're not strong enough to hold this bed. Bed's not super heavy, but don't use the little 1-inch ones. Use the big heavy ones that you use to tie your car down to the trailer. They're rated for a lot more weight than this bed is, and they're safe. And I got some eye bolts. I think they're 3 or 4 inches long. They're 1/2-inch thread. You come through like this. As you can see, I got a nut on this side. There's a washer on that side. Anything I could find, just because this nut, the 1/2-inch nut, the screws on the threads right here. Oops, there we go. I'll try to get the camera on there. That will almost, you can almost force it through the mounting hose here. And what the plan is, that one's a little crooked. It's going to cause a little trouble. That's just the way it's hanging. That one right there, that is. When I back the truck up under here, I'm going to lower the bed down on here, and these threads here, I will use that to help line it up with the four-cornered, the 4 bolt holes in the frame, the outer 4, as I wanted to say. I will use that to line it up, and I will lower it down on there. Of course, it will sit on the nuts, and it will be high, but once I get it down on the truck frame, I will release the engine crane, and what I can do is, the weight of the bed is going to hold those nuts down tight, and I will come up here, unscrew these eye bolts, and then I will get under the truck, lift with my feet, and get the nuts out from between the frame and the bed. let me put the camera on the tripod and we'll back the truck up in here and we'll see how it works out. I shut the truck off because diesel fumes can get pretty harsh inside the garage, even with the fans blowing away from it. Alright, just want to slowly ease this thing in. This engine cleaner really works a lot better. I planned on doing this with the tractor. Remember how I used to pick it up with the tractor? No, this is a lot more steady. You can control it a lot easier. Let it down a lot slower. Let's see, this thing needs to come towards me a little bit. This old homemade engine crane has got caster wheels on this end. They only go straight on that end, so they're steel ones, which are good. So, we'll get under here, drag the whole thing this way. Need to put some caster wheels under the front. This was a guy sold it to me. He got it out of an old diesel shop. They evidently had picked up an old diesel engine, big, heavy ones. It's a big, thick, heavy duty thing that weighs a ton. But I like it. Only gave $35 for it, but it needed a lot of work. You couldn't buy the steel for that, so it turned out to work out pretty good for me. It picked up a lot bigger engine than I would probably ever pick up. Maybe one day we might have to pull this Powerstroke out. I hope not. This thing this way again, I guess. This is the lowest corner. It's not perfectly balanced. Lower down a little more. Now that high bolt that's going to make corner in is going in the bolt over free. You can see this engine frame makes it easy by yourself. Okay, these two are in. And to straighten everything up, okay, well maybe not. I think I need to just lower it. Get it in. The bed is surprisingly easy to move around on the engine frame like this. They're not super heavy. There we go. That's in. You need to come down in the front. Don't want to go too fast. I don't want to bump it into my cab. It's starting to fall right into place. Came out. Now it's going to fall down in there. And like I said, remember there's a big washers in between the bed and the frame. It's going to sit high. So don't think we got anything going on. Okay, now my bolt is on the inside of the frame. I got to get under here and pick it up. On this side is lower. eye bolts aren't sticking through exactly straight, so I'm not really lining up the holes. I'll do a little coaxing and a little help. There it goes. And get this one to go in. Crane all the way down. And there it is. Unhook all my tie down struts. Around pretty good for a 47-year-old. Well, you didn't see that. Ah, never mind. You didn't see me jump out of the truck. Alright. Maybe you did. Alright. Like I said, I get around pretty good for a 47-year-old. Like I said, the nut or the washer is got the weight of the bed on it now, so I'm able to screw all these out. Got my camera off of what I'm showing you here, and it all kind of helps you out when you do it like this. Now I got to do all 4 of these like that, but let's see if that nut's spinning. Nope, it's not, because we got the weight of the bed holding it still. Alright, I'm not going to show you all of that. I'm going to get all 4 of those out. Then we'll get under the truck, remove the nuts, and we'll be able to drop some bolts in it and start lining it up. Alright, we've got all our eye bolts out. Now, a little bit of a risky part here. I'm going to pick this up, get my fingers between the bed and the frame, and remove the nut and the washer. Do not drop the bed on your fingers. Not a good idea. Okay, that's for some reason that side just seems a lot heavier. I don't know why. And your arms aren't big enough. Here's your legs. Goes. Like this. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to film this part. I'll show you how I do the front. I'm going to need both hands, so I don't know how I'm going to film this. Well, maybe I won't. Here's what I do. Take my foot, lift your leg. I recommend doing some leg presses on a regular basis if you're going to do this. Alright, get this one out. And now we're sitting down on the bed. And we can put our bolts in and get this gap right again. And let's see. Yeah, we need to, it's already looking better than it was. It needs to come in some, but I haven't even stuck the bed bolts in, and I'm looking at that bottom. It's already looking so much better, and I haven't even attempted to line it up. It's just sitting there loose. And oh yes, this side, yeah, still got a lot wider gap on this side, or do we? I don't know. It's pretty darn close. Haven't measured anything yet, so getting ahead of myself. But oh yeah, it seemed like a lot of trouble. This is going to be worth the effort, though. I think this is going to line up good, and it's not going to be that hard to do. Just a lot of taking the bed off and putting it back on. let's stick some bolts in it and wiggle this thing around, get that gap even. Okay, still 4th of July night. I decided, like I said, I decided to go ahead and put the bed on tonight. Got everything tightened down. Got my gap pretty much like it was before. It's 1/8 inch wider on this side and the other, which is pretty darn good, really, considering what we started out with. That's what I got it to last time I had it on here. And my panels on this side, let's see, where's my straight edge? It's over here. Okay, we might as well show you how it lines up on this side. So you can see I got that clamped down. I'll explain what happened there later. Nothing bad happened. It's just that it's just part of getting this lined out. But that's looking good there. I don't have any screws in it yet or nothing either. And we need to push. Let's see. Yeah, this needs to come out, which, as you can see, I can easily move it in and out, and then I'll put some screws up in here. I'll do it from the inside the bed, of course, and we'll be able to line this up quite easily. Just pull that out. You can see that gap with the string right there. It's about the same on the other side, and if you look down the side of the truck, the bed kind of bows out slightly wider than a cab, which is the way they all are. And it looks pretty close to the same on this. Truck doesn't look really that crooked as long as you look at it. You know, you realize that the bed dimensions are different from the cab. That's the way they are. It actually the cab, if you look, it kind of goes in the bed, bows back out right at the middle of the fender well, and that's pretty much the way they are. And that looks good there. This needs to go in, but as you can see, I'm taking my knee, pushing in on this bottom panel. That's pretty much lining that up. It's looking pretty close. That needs some work. That's all dented. See that? That's what that's all about. There's a dent right here. And this needs to go in. And when you do that, there's that dent there. Got that. Yeah, that actually, there's a big dent. You can see it right there and there, and the whole thing is kind of needs to be fixed. But once we get this welded up, we'll be able to work with that. But I think it's going to line up pretty good. I'm kind of happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a video, and the next video will be screwing this thing together to where it'll stay, and then we'll try to do some tack welding if I can get to it. Oh yeah, one more thing I want to explain to you why it's clamped in that corner over there. When I push that top in this way to align it with the cab, this wanted to lift up, and what it was, it's still pot riveted. It's not pot riveted, but it's still spot welded. Right here, these two are busted loose, but to this whole bedside panel. And so when I was pushing it, this right here is rolling up. And all I had to do, I pulled it over. You can see I got to come along, keeping it in the right position. And then all I had to do was step on it down here, and that pushed it down. See where my foot is? I just stepped on it right here, and that pushed it down, and I was able to clamp this. Of course, I got a rag to protect the cab from the clamp. And we're moving right along. It's starting to come together now. Starting to get this old bed lined up, and like I said, that string gap's about the same. I think it was a pretty good idea with the string. I think it helped me get this bed on straight. Right there. And oh yeah. So like I said, I'm gonna call this video. It's getting close to dark. Normally, if this wasn't 4th of July, I'd keep on working and probably have that screwed together tonight. But Angel's going to be a mess when all them fireworks go off, and I'm going to light a few off myself. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get this thing in the garage before the bottle rockets go to flying. So on that note, I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Thanks to my new subscribers. I've been asking you to subscribe and comment. Give me a thumbs up. I'm noticing more thumbs ups on my videos, and appreciate that. give me some more, and I'll keep cranking out some videos, and hopefully we can get this truck done and move on to other projects hopefully someday. Thanks for watching.